When trying to break down movies, people typically point at the 3-act structure. This is used to show how the structure of most movies is similar, with the first act setting up the introduction, the second act building up tension with obstacles the protagonist must overcome, and finally, that third act where the climax is reached, and the movie de-escalates tension until it is wrapped up. A significant portion of movies follow this structure, which is why it is commonly used as a narrative template. The climax of the movie is one of, if not the most important parts of your movie. This is where the theme of the movie comes full circle, and the result of everything that the writers have built up to is capitalized on. The impact of your climax on your audience gives you a really good gauge of if you've done a good job constructing the tension and emotionality of your film. Also, this happens towards the end of a film, and is typically one of the main things that sticks with the audience. While there are many examples of movies that have this climax, few are as impactful as those in Shawshank Redemption and The Green Mile. When John Coffey is executed in The Green Mile, it is a very emotional scene for the audience. The movie has shown the audience the good nature of John Coffey and how him even being in prison in the first place is a mistake. The movie follows the themes of faith and cruelty throughout. The faith theme stands out in John Coffey, who is a Christ-like figure that is very connected to God, and the cruelty theme through the fact that John Coffey is never actually freed, and he is executed for the crimes that he did not commit. If we were to say that John Coffey's execution scene was the emotional climax, then these two themes would need to be demonstrated here to help emphasize it, and these themes are outright shown in his execution scene. Here is a rather blatant example of this faith theme. In this scene, John Coffey, the Christ-like figure, is being executed unjustly after only trying to help those in need. Also, he is singing about heaven while he's being put to death. Here's a demonstration of the cruelty theme.
Kill him twice, you boys. You go on, kill that raping baby killer twice. That'll be fine.
Does it hurt yet? I hope it does. I hope it hurts like hell.
From their perspective, John Coffey is the murderer of their children, but we as the audience know and have seen that he did nothing wrong. The movie is structured around this being the climax, which is why it is so successful. While the movie would have much more of a happy ending if Coffey was freed and able to escape, it would make no sense in the context of this movie, because this is the climax that the writers had meticulously built up to for the runtime. For the movie to faithfully pay off the themes that they decided to write about, this must be the climax. The Shawshank Redemption also has a very impactful climax. Andy Dufresne is a man who has been imprisoned for the murder of his wife, a crime which he did not commit. Dufresne faces many hardships in Shawshank. The sisters, almost getting killed by the warden, and even Tommy, a man he took under his wing and practically began to parent, gets killed by the warden. The most important theme of this movie, however, which is the reason Andy Dufresne never gives up, is hope. He doesn't give up after being assaulted by the sisters. He doesn't give up after being placed in solitary confinement however many times. And he doesn't give up after Tommy is executed. An hour into the film, after the sisters, the rooftop scene, and the scene with Brooks, we are given a glimpse into Andy's mind.
It's in here. In here.
That's the beauty of music. They can't get that from you.
So as you can see, hope is the prevalent theme throughout this movie. But why is this important? Because, once again, this all comes together in the last third, during that climax, when Andy Dufresne
crawled through a river of shit and came out clean on the other side.
This right here is the climax. This is the main moment the movie has been building up to. All the hardship Andy faces and his persevering optimism results in him finally being free, and the audience is there with him. If you look on most lists of the most emotional movies or movies with the best climax, you will most likely always find The Green Mile and Shawshank. These movies understand that the best climax is where you'd pay off not just one story thread, but where you show the result of the protagonist after all the hardship they go through during your film. The Green Mile has a very sad climax because it's a result of a good man who has been placed in a racist, cruel world, where John Coffey doesn't want to die in the end, but he is at peace knowing that he is going to die, surrounded by those who respect and care for him. Shawshank has a very satisfying climax because the result of a man, wrongly convicted, who makes the most of the prison he is forced into. This movie could have just been 2 hours of him chiseling away at a wall, but the theme the writers wanted to build up to was hope, showing him bringing a little light into the prison one step at a time so they could have the most successful climax. These movies may share a director, writer, and a similar style, but at the end of the day they are pretty different. I'm certain there are several good movies which don't have such a bombastic climax built up to throughout the entire film, but having this attention and emotion being built up to throughout the film really helps it stick in the audience's mind, and is the reason these movies have stuck to us.